Some men gather trouble like rain barrels, catch runoff drop by drop, until the weight breaks the staves. Jasper Cole wasn't that sort. For 34 years he'd dodged trouble like it wore a contagion. And up on his ridge in Dakota Territory, he'd grown used to hearing only two voices, his own and the wind calming the pines. Then Margold Ash stepped off the evening stage in Iron Creek with a battered satchel, a tired dress, and a tongue sharp enough to skin a grizzly. Lydia, Jasper's sister, had answered a mail order bride notice for him, never asked, barely warned. By the time he knew, the woman was already bound west. "You're 34, Jasper," Lydia had said, hands on hips like a school mom. "Quit haunting the high country and behave like a man with a future." So there he stood in October, cold coat collar up, trying to ignore a knot of dread. The platform spilled its passengers, 3 men, an elderly lady with a carpet bag, a young mother soothing a fussy baby. Jasper hoped the last might not be his bride. Then the final traveler stepped down, 5'4", hairpinned practical with rebellious wisps, green eyes that took in everything. Faces, buildings, exits. Those eyes cut toward him like she'd recognized him from a sketch. "You're Jasper Cole," she said, striding straight for him. "Missouri Lealt iron under it. I'm Marigold Ash, your bride." He took off his hat, torn between honesty and good manners. "Ma'am, don't ma'am me like I might faint," she said, hefting her satchel. "I rode 600 M. I'm not here for fairy tales." Lydia's letters were plain about terms, she added, giving him a franc once over like he was ranch stock. "Taller than I expected, broader too, good for mountain work." Jasper had no words. Most women either went quiet or filled the air. Marigold did neither. She stated and proceeded. "Well," she angled a brow, "are we shivering out here till spring, or will you show me this cabin?" The wagon trail climbed through gold aspen and black pine, a road cut into rock by stubbornness. Marigold watched the land like a map reader. "How far from town?" she asked. 8 ms closest Boone, 3 mi north." "How often do you go down?" "Monthly, less come winter." The wagon hit a rut. She opened her satchel, checking bundles tied with care. Jasper glimpsed herbs, cloth, bandage rolls, a bottle or two. "You carry medicine?" he asked. "Old habit," she said. "My mother doctored folks back in Missouri. I learned enough." The cabin, perched on a granite lip logs tight, chinked a true drawing chimney glass panes he'd hauled one by one. "Not pretty, but sure." Marigold surveyed it like an auditor. "Smaller than I pictured. Big enough for what I need." "For what you needed," she corrected. "There are 2 now." He carried her satchel inside. Stone hearth, cast iron stove, shelves, a narrow bed behind a curtain. Clean, organized, built by a single man for a single man. "Where do I sleep?" she asked, eyes on the bed. He rose in his neck. He'd approached this marriage like winter, provisions and timing. Bedding startled him like a misfire. "I'll set a bed-roll by the fire." For how long? They were married in law, by proxy, Lydia, standing for him back in Missouri. But law and living are different things. "Until you're ready," he said. Marigold studied him. "You're not what I expected." "Either. What did you expect?" "A desperate man who demands his rights," she said. "But a man who built this doesn't beg, he takes." "I don't take what isn't offered," Jasper said. "How noble," she murmured, with not quite mockery. "Your sister called you a wild hermit who forgot how to hold a conversation. Lydia has more opinions than ours in a day." He said she also said you were honest. Margold said, "Are you Jasper Cole?" "I am good. Then I'll be honest, too. I didn't come for love. I came to leave Missouri. Marriage is the cleanest door. I can cook, clean, mend, and help with work. In return, I expect food, shelter, and safety. Nothing more, nothing less." It should have comforted him. Instead, something in him fell away. "What were you running from?" "Nothing that'll find me here," she said, shutting the door on the question. She inspected the kitchen edge with her fingertips. This needs a proper cloth. Shelves want organizing. When did you last eat something I'd call supper? I eat fine, he muttered. Jerky and beans don't qualify, she said, opening the pantry, clucking. We need flour, sugar, coffee that tastes like coffee. He watched her tally his life with brisk competence. Part of him bristled. Another part waited, curious and unwilling to admit it. I'll start supper, she said. Bring in my trunk. Yes, ma'am. Slipped out, edged. He regretted the tone as soon as she turned. Are you going to be difficult? She asked. About what? A woman in your space. Change. This is my home, our home. She corrected, for better or worse. Those were the vows Lydia spoke over us. The first week was skirmishes. She rearranged the kitchen, declared his approach a disaster, moved the coffee tin, realigned his tools, replaced wooden bowls with china from her trunk. Jasper's jaw worked. You'll wear those teeth out, she noted on day 4, setting real flapjacks before him. I'm fine. You're irritated. Not the same. She poured strong coffee. Eat. The flapjacks were light, almost sinful. Edible, he said. She laughed like a creek over stones. Be still, my heart. If you wanted enthusiasm, you should have married elsewhere. Maybe I should have, she said lightly, but I didn't. So we're stuck with each other, stuck stung. He finished and went to the lines, the hills doing their work on his mood. Out there things made sense. Creatures wanted, feared, mated, or didn't. No subtext, no performance. He'd lost his mother at 12, learned weather and wood and work from a silent father. People, especially women, were a language he didn't read well. Marigold Ash was all contradiction. Educated speech, careful mending, efficient hands, soft skin, iron will, guarded eyes. Who was she? What weather had driven her west? He returned at dusk to a softened room, curtains sewn from her fabric. Stew aromatic on the hearth, fresh bread. Butter he didn't remember buying. Where'd the milk come from? He asked. Cavan Boone, she said, traded mending for milk and eggs. He's kind, lonely. His wife died in spring. You went alone. I'm not helpless. I followed the path you told me. Calvin says you don't visit, she added. Not since the funeral. I help, Jasper said, uncomfortable. He'd chopped wood, checked snares, fixed hinges, useful things that required no talking. I don't doubt it, she said. But there's more than one way to help. She tore bread, passed him a piece. He invited us to Sunday dinner. I accepted. You what? It's what neighbors do, she said. They sit and eat, keep connections. I don't do calls. You do now, she said. Pleasant but immovable. We're married. That means we operate like a team. Your hermit season is over. They fought. Truly fought. He said he hadn't asked for a wife to redraw his life. She said he had a wife, like it or not. And wives came with expectations of civilized behavior. Civilized. He said, heat rising. I live civilized. Hiding isn't civilized. It's cow. She didn't finish. She didn't have to. He stood chair skidding. She didn't step back. He was close enough to see the slight flare of fear and the lift of her throat where her pulse droomed. I call it minding my own business. He said low. You might try it. This is my business. She said, I live here. I won't be a cave wife to suit your quiet. They held each other's gaze, the air brittle. He smelled lavender in her hair. Her breath hitched. He could have flung more words. Instead, he said, I stay away from town because I don't care for people. Noise, performance, obligations. I came up here for the quiet. Then you should have stayed single, she shot back. You didn't. You let Lydia send for me. You wanted something different. You just won't admit it. I wanted someone to cook and keep house without changing me. You wanted a housekeeper, she said. It took the heat down a measure. At least you're honest. I am, you are, she said. But I won't be just that. I need to build to matter, and I won't live like a prisoner. You're not a prisoner, aren't I? She asked, if I can't go to town, can't visit, can't improve our life, that's a velvet prison. He sat, the fight going out like a winded fire. I didn't see it. I know, she said simply. They ate in quiet. Later, rolling his bed by the fire, listening to the human noises behind the curtain, fabric, water, the creak of a narrow bed, Jasper felt the silence change shape. In the days that followed, they wore down each other's sharp edges. She pushed for cleanliness, order, regular meals. He resisted, then grudgingly admitted the improvements were real. He began noticing details. How she moved with contained grace, hummed when cooking, concentrated when mending. She noticed him, the way he favored his left shoulder, reread the same 3 books, checked the door twice. Coffee waited hot in the mornings. A wintergreen liniment appeared for his shoulder without comment. On Thursday, she announced, "I'm going to town." "No," he said. "I wasn't asking." She replied, wrapping eggs for trade. "I need real flour, sugar, salt, spices. I'll go Saturday. I won't wait. You're not going alone." "Why?" she asked. "Wolves, bandits. You've walked that trail alone for years." He searched for the truth and discovered it with a jab of embarrassment. "People talk about me in town alone." She asked more gently, "Or about the kind of husband who lets that happen?" "I'm thinking of your reputation," he said, surprising himself with how much he meant it. "I can handle talk," she said. "I don't wilt." "I know," he said. "If you're going, I'll take you. You don't have to." "I do." In Iron Creek, Marigold bloomed. She traded eggs for credit, charmed Otis Crane into better bulk prices, and talked him into ordering spices he didn't stock, while convincing him the idea was his. Within an hour, she knew who needed what and who had excess. Otis watched her go with admiration. "Your wife's a treasure," he told Jasper. "You're a lucky man, lucky." Jasper pocketed the word like a coin. On the ride back, she watched the mountains, thoughtful. "Regrets?" he asked. "About what?" "Coming," he said. "Seeing what you miss living close to people." "I miss the hum of a town," she said, "the sense of being part of something, but I don't regret this." "Not yet. What would make you regret it?" "Shrinking," she said. "I need to build. I don't know how yet, but I will." That night, she drew lists by firelight. Supplies, improvements, names, and needs. Jasper watched her conjure vision from pencil and paper. "Otis says prepared furs bring a premium," she said. "Women want butter and cheese. Nearest dairies 50 m. Opportunity is everywhere." He felt resistance rise and forced it down. She studied him, then looked away. "I wasn't honest about everything," she said quietly. "My father taught school. My mother died when I was 16. I married Edmund Pike, banker's son, respectable and rotten. He drank and gambled away what we had. When he died, he left me with nothing and a ruined name. I stayed. I sewed. I taught. The debts multiplied. Pity stung worse than rumor. When Lydia's advertisement came, it looked like a door. You were running from debt," he said. "I was running from a life getting smaller," she said, "and from faces that said I should be ashamed of wanting to live." He saw it all then. Not just her efficiency, but the fight behind it. He drove her to Ruthie Hale's boarding house the next day. Ruthie, 60, swollen hands, nearly wept with relief at Marigold's offer of help washing and ironing twice a week for pay and meals. Godsend, she told Jasper. Smart, reliable. You lucked out. The ride home was comfortable, and ease where friction had been. "Thank you," Marigold said. "For what? For not making a fight where none was needed." "I still don't like it." "I know, but you did it anyway," she said. She cooked a celebratory supper and produced whiskey with a satisfied glint. "To our partnership," she said, tapping his glass. He watched the light bloom in her face and felt something loosen in his chest. Maybe this would work. The thought scared him almost as much as it warmed him. Winter teased the ridges. Jasper kept his lines, but also built a smokehouse, tightened fences, hung a better door. Marigold proved indispensable at Ruthie's. Word spread in town about her competence and kindness. She remembered small things. Names, ailments, birthdays. People came to the cabin for mending, reading lessons. salves that soothed, teas that quieted coughs. Then one cold evening he came home to cinnamon and warmth. Marigold pulled rolls from the oven. Cheeks flushed, hair escaping pins, flour streaked her cheek. "You've got flour," he said. "Where?" She swiped blindly. He stepped close and brushed it away with his thumb. The touch jolted them. She went still. His hand lingered. "Jasper," she said softly. "Marigold." He answered, her name and oath. The door flew open. Calvin burst in. Illy fell through the ice. "He's breathing, but he's going cold." "Please?" Marigold had her satchel in hand before Calvin finished. "Of course," she said. Jasper hitched the team. They drove fast. Illy lay under blankets, shaking hard, lips tinged blue. Marigold took control. Slow warming heated stones, broths, and sips the right way to keep a chilled body from breaking. Jasper stoked the fire, fetched, steadied. Hours bled past. Illy's color returned. When the shivering eased, Marigold exhaled. "He'll be fine," she said. Warm, quiet fluids. Calvin thanked them until Jasper calmed him. They rode home in a deep quiet, the kind made by teamwork and relief. "Where'd you learn it?" Jasper asked. "My mother," Marigold said. "Half of Meriton came to our door. They ate cinnamon rolls by embers." Jasper said, "Thank you. We did what needed doing." She said, "Together." Later, she looked into the fire and said, "I lied." He set his book down. "About what?" "Why I came." Edmund wasn't thrown from a horse. He was shot by a man who found him with his wife. The scandal finished what his gambling started. "I stayed 6 months, shrinking every day. I answered a dozen advertisements. Lydia sounded tolerable, practical. My plan was to stay long enough to dissolve it and move on. California, maybe." "You meant to leave," he said. "I did," she said. "I don't anymore." "What changed you?" she said. "You're honest, not saintly stubborn, set in your ways, but honest. You don't perform. You don't try to shave me down to fit some shape you already decided on." He saw the hurt of her plan, weighed against the truth of her now, and chose. "I'll have you," he said, just like that. "We both came for practical reasons," he said. "What matters is what we make of it now." "What do you want to make?" "Something real," he said. The air between them shifted. The spark of their arguments turned to heat. "Are you sure?" "I've been sure," she whispered. He kissed her. She rose to meet him. Winter closed in, and inside they built a marriage. Snow hemmed the ridge, but the cabin felt like freedom. Marigold sketched plans. Better fur preparation, selling at premiums, eventually cattle if they started small. More trips to town, Jasper warned. "Good," she said, kissing him. "You've been hiding long enough." "Selective," he countered, half smiling. Spring brought proof. Jasper's pelts were always good. Marigold's methods made them superb. Techniques learned from books she'd quietly ordered to Ruth. Otis paid premium prices and asked her to teach other trappers' wives for a fee. Their name grew. Fair dealing, quality goods, honest words. By midsummer, they walked the valley grass talking cattle in earnest. They had enough set aside to buy a modest starter herd. They had each other. She handled people with grace. He tended quality and steadiness. "Are you sure?" he asked. "I'm sure about us," she said. "If we can do us, we can do cattle." That evening on the porch, Marigold folded his hand into hers. "I'm pregnant," she said. He held still, joy and fear rising together. "You're certain?" "I am. How do you feel?" "Like the luckiest man in the territory." "Good," she said, smiling bright. "Well need the luck." They accelerated plans. Jasper hovered. Marigold teased and let him hover. 12 head arrived in late August. Good stock. They fenced, watered, learned new rhythms. It felt like building a future rather than enduring a year. The baby came on a cold December morning, impatient for the midwife, a daughter with Marigold's green eyes and stubborn chin. Marigold cradled her, exhausted and radiant. "What do we name her?" Jasper asked. Lydia, Marigold said, without your sister's meddling, none of this exists. He laughed at the memory of his irritation. Lie coal, he said, and it fit. Seasons turned and prosperity came steady as a creek. The cattle thrived, the fur business held. Marigold's classes lifted other households. They added rooms, a deeper porch, a proper smokehouse. People rode up not just for goods, but for counsel. Marigold remembered everyone's aches and joys. Jasper's quiet steadiness made customers trust him. Their name meant something in the territory. Evenings, after the day loosened its grip, and Lai slept with one fist curled in Marigold's hair, they sat on the porch and watched the valley breathe. Do you ever regret it? Jasper asked one sundown. Regret what? Marigold asked. Staying building this instead of disappearing into California. Never, she said. This is everything I didn't know I wanted. Even when I'm stubborn, especially, she said, kissing him. Your stubbornness built this place. Your refusal to cut corners. That's our foundation. 2 wagons crested the far ridge. Customers drawn by reputation. Company, Jasper said. Good. Marigold replied, rising. Business is welcome. She headed toward the door. He called, hush now. Don't waste your breath arguing when you could be gasping my name instead. Her laugh carried back, warm, low, rich with shared memory. Later, husband. Right now, folks to greet and money to make. Jasper gathered Lydia on his knee and smiled. His once sharp-tongued bride had built them a fortune with wit and will, and a home besides. What began as a practical bargain had become a partnership, a marriage, a legacy. The approaching wagons meant more than coin. They proved what Marigold had claimed the day she arrived. Opportunity is everywhere if you learn how to see. Side by side, they had learned to see, and then to shape what they saw into a life large enough for 2 stubborn hearts and the child between.